Hey, Pastor Josh here. We're reading Genesis chapter 21, verses 22 through 34. We're going to see Abraham gets in a little contentious disagreement with a Philistine, with Abimelech in Phicol. So at that time, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, said to Abraham, so these are Philistines, which will in the future be a problem to the nation of Israel. And they said, God is with you in all that you do. Now therefore swear to me, here by God, that you will not deal falsely with me, or with my descendants, or with my posterity, as I have dealt kindly with you. I'm kind to you, I'm being nice to you. Why don't you be nice to me? So you will deal with me and with the land where you have sojourned. And Abraham said, I will swear. I think this is an example for us to follow. He didn't have any reason to be against Abimelech and Phicol. He said, okay, if I will swear, and I will deal kindly with you as you have dealt kindly with me. But then it appears that they aren't exactly being so kind to him. And so Abraham actually reproves Abimelech. He points out that they had been they took a well that Abraham dug. And so Abraham reproved Abimelech about a well of water that Abimelech's servants had seized. Now, a well of water is a really big deal back then. This is how you would get water in a place that did not have running water. We have pipes. That's how we transport water. At that point, if there was no running water, then you needed to dig a well so that you could water your flocks, which is a very important aspect of life in the time of Abraham. And so he says, you took one of my wells. I dug a well. Well would not be an easy thing to dig. I've dug it, and your servants took it from me. And Abimelech says, I don't know who's done this thing. I don't know. What are you talking about? You did not tell me, and I have not heard of it till today. You're just telling me now? Why are you just telling me now? I've not heard of it. I didn't do it on purpose. And you can see Abraham's probably wondering, I don't know if he's quite being honest, because they go and they actually make a big old covenant. So Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them to Abimelech, and the two men made a covenant. Whenever you see the word made a covenant, it is cut a covenant. In similar way that God made a covenant with Abraham, where they cut the animals in pieces and they walked between the two and met. And so probably this ox and the sheep are going to be sacrificial animals that are cut down the middle, put on the side, and then they will walk between the pieces and make an agreement. But Abraham does something a little different. He sets 7 ewe lambs of the flock apart. Here's 7 lambs for you. And Abimelech said to Abraham, what is the meaning of these 7 lambs that you have set apart? And Abraham said, these 7 ewe lambs you will take from my hand, that this may be a witness for me that I dug the well. So this is kind of giving a little clue that Abraham does not necessarily think that Abimelech is necessarily as trustworthy as he should be. One, the original agreement was just a man's word. He said, I swear I'll do it. And it appears that Abimelech and Phicol aren't exactly doing what they said they would do. So Abraham makes a formal covenant with him. They're signing papers, you would today, showing that they mean business, and that if they go back on the covenant, then what would be done to them was what would be done to the pieces of the animals that were cut in two. And then Abraham puts 7 lambs off to the side, and he says, this is a witness. This is a gift for you, Abimelech, and this is a witness that I dug this well. And then that is why they called it Beersheba. Therefore, that place was called Beersheba, because both of them swore an oath. So they made a covenant at Beersheba. Now, Beersheba actually means beer is the word for well. Sheba is the word for 7. So Beersheba. And Beersheba is actually one of the most southern parts of Israel. And so when you are reading other portions of Scripture, you'll sometimes see the phrase from Dan to Beersheba. Dan is one of the most furthest most cities of Israel. And Beersheba is one of the southernmost cities. So oftentimes to say the entire nation, you would say from Dan to Beersheba. It would be the similar way of saying from Maine to California. It's encompassing the entire place. You're picking opposite places to describe the entire whole. So Beersheba is actually one of the southernmost parts of Israel. So this would be the future land of the Israelites. And so the only land that Abraham actually owned was Sarah's grave plot, and then this would technically be a piece, not necessarily a piece of property, but a well that Abraham owned would be Beersheba, this well. So they made a covenant there, and Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, rose up and returned to the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba and called there on the name of the Lord. So you see a memorial, a memory mark that Abraham is doing. He is worshiping the Lord, and he is putting this up as a memorial of what the Lord has done in making peace and realigning the relationship between Abraham and Abimelech. He called on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God, and Abraham sojourned many days in the land of the Philistines, emphasizing that word sojourn. He's wandering around. This is not his home. Even though this will be the future land for his descendants, this is not ultimately his home. I pray that's been a blessing to you. I'll see you all in the next video.